Today, I bring you a terrifying real-life horror story from the United States, a tale so chilling that even the bravest souls avoid speaking about it. This is the true story of the abandoned cabin of Blackwood Forest, a place where darkness lingers and something unknown watches from the shadows. The beginning, a weekend escape. In October 2018, four friends, Josh, Emily, Marcus, and Olivia, decided to take a weekend trip to the remote Blackwood Forest in Virginia. The forest was dense, stretching for miles, and was known for its eerie silence. But the real reason people feared it was because of the abandoned cabin that stood deep within. Locals often warned travelers never to go near that cabin. They spoke of disappearances, strange noises, and shadows moving in the windows despite no one living there for decades. But Josh, a thrill seeker, dismissed the warnings as nothing more than small-town ghost stories. "It's just an old house," Josh laughed. "Besides, ghost stories make trips more fun." So, with backpacks full of supplies and excitement in their hearts, the four friends set off into the woods, unaware of the nightmare awaiting them. The cabin in the woods. The deeper they walked into Blackwood Forest, the quieter it became. No birds, no rustling leaves, just an unnatural silence that felt suffocating. Finally, they arrived. The cabin stood tall and decayed, its wooden walls covered in vines, and its windows broken and lifeless. The door was slightly ajar, creaking as the wind pushed against it. An overwhelming feeling of unease settled over them. "This place is giving me bad vibes," Olivia muttered. But Josh, being the boldest, stepped forward. "Come on, we didn't hike all this way to turn back now." Reluctantly, the others followed. As soon as they stepped inside, an icy chill ran through their bodies. The air smelled of rotting wood and damp earth, and the walls were covered in strange carvings, symbols none of them recognized. Then, Emily noticed something disturbing. There were fresh footprints on the dusty wooden floor. "Guys, someone's been here recently," she whispered. A long silence followed before Marcus spoke. "Maybe it's just hikers like us?" Trying to shake off the eerie feeling, they set up their sleeping bags and lit a small fire inside the fireplace. But the moment they did, the whispers began. The whispers in the dark. At first, the whispers were faint, like the wind brushing against the cabin walls. But soon, they grew louder, soft voices speaking in a language they didn't understand. Olivia clutched her blanket. "Tell me you guys hear that." They all nodded. The whispers seemed to be coming from inside the cabin. Josh grabbed his flashlight and shined it around. "It's just the wind. There's nothing here." But as he turned back, something moved in the shadows behind him. A tall, dark figure. Emily screamed. The flashlight flickered, and for a split second, they all saw it, a shadowy figure with hollow eyes standing in the doorway. Then, the whispers turned into screams. Trapped inside a nightmare. Suddenly, the door slammed shut on its own. The windows rattled violently, and the temperature dropped. Their breath became visible as cold air filled the room. Marcus ran to the door, trying to yank it open, but it wouldn't budge. "We're locked in." Then, the cabin began to shake, as if something massive was moving underneath it. The floorboards creaked, and deep, guttural growls echoed from the walls. That's when Olivia saw it, a pair of blood-red eyes staring at her from the ceiling. She screamed, falling backward. The others looked up, but nothing was there. Then, the carvings on the walls started to bleed. Dark red liquid dripped down, covering the floor. The symbols began to glow faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. "We need to get out of here," Josh shouted. The escape. Desperate, Marcus grabbed a wooden chair and smashed the window open. Shards of glass flew everywhere, but they didn't care, they just needed to escape. One by one, they climbed out, running into the darkness of the forest. Behind them, the cabin groaned, as if it was alive, and the whispers turned into laughter, low, sinister chuckles that followed them into the night. After what felt like hours, they finally reached their car. Gasping for breath, they jumped inside, locking the doors. As Josh started the engine, Olivia turned back to look at the cabin one last time. A figure stood in the window, watching them leave. Its hollow eyes gleamed in the moonlight, and its lips curled into a smile. The aftermath. The four friends never spoke about that night again. They later learned that the Blackwood Cabin was once home to a cult in the 1800s. The members believed they could summon an ancient entity through dark rituals. One night, something went horribly wrong, and every single member vanished without a trace. The cabin had been abandoned ever since, until that night when the four friends unknowingly woke something up. To this day, hikers report hearing whispers in the forest, and some even claim to have seen shadowy figures lurking in the trees. But no one dares to enter the cabin again. Because once you do, it never lets you go. Do you dare to visit Blackwood Forest? Would you ever visit a haunted cabin deep in the woods? Or would you stay far away? Let me know your thoughts. If you liked this story, stay tuned for more real-life horror encounters. Until next time, stay safe, and never ignore the warnings.